of memory is our topic title. And I do have a little, I'm not going to turn you into neuroscientists today, although I'd love to, but I am going to show you a little bit about the brain anatomy, but also I have some great articles for you about memory and about what you can do to help to nourish and support your memory. Okay, so first we will go to the PowerPoint. All right, hope you can see my screen. And of course, the anatomy of memory, the main place that we're going to be talking about is the brain. And let's move this a little bit. Okay, so we know a lot about the brain, but there's a lot that we don't know. And there are regions of the brain, and they all have different functions. And I have one of my favorite cartoons from the Far Side. He says, I don't know if you can see this. He says, "Whoa, that was a good one. Try it, Hobbs. Just poke his brain right where my finger is." And the guy's foot automatically kicked up. So they were locating the leg area of the motor cortex. And by doing studies similar to this in animals and humans, and sometimes the humans are alert when they do this, and they've been able to map the surface of the brain with remarkable specificity. And you can see there are areas of the brain that control different functions. For instance, primary visual cortex is back in the back of the brain. The motor and sensory cortices are right by this, right in the middle of the top, like if you cut right there. And the front of the brain is, we call this the prefrontal cortex. Now, cortex means bark, or the outside. The cortex of the tree was the outside of the tree. The cortex of the medulla, the adrenal gland, was the outside. The cortex of the kidney was the outside of the kidney. And then the medulla was inside. So we know a lot about the cortex. And this is important because if you have a dysfunction, an injury, or a stroke in one particular area, depending on which area is involved, we'll be able to maybe, because of the symptoms, figure out the location of the stroke or the extent of the stroke or injury. And it's just fascinating to me. But when we talk about the anatomy of memory, well, the cortex, so this is how we've made a cut. Here's a brain. We've made a cut right to split the brain into two halves. We call that a sagittal plane. So this is the inside view of the left half of the brain. So if we just took that plane and took the close area to us right away, this is what we're going to see on the inside. And deep in the inner part of the brain is this, what they call, some people call this the ancient brain, some people call this the reptilian brain, but it's a deep, deep part of the brain where we find emotions, we find a lot of our instincts perhaps, but also memory. This is where our memories are formed or stored. And So I just wanted to give you that idea that because it's so deep inside, it's more difficult to study than the surface of the brain. So I have, like I said, a bunch of articles for you. It's so interesting. There's a lot of interesting information on the internet about the brain, for instance. And we're talking about memory in particular. So brainmadesimple.com has this list of human memory facts. And I thought they were very interesting. So I'll share them with you. It's been proven, and I will include this in the call resources as well. It's been proven by scientific research that the human brain starts to remember things from the womb. The memory starts to work just 20 weeks after conception. And, you know, I don't have memories that early. And, you know, there are different theories about when our memories, when our earliest memories are, but, or when our memories get blocked, those early memories get blocked. But I will tell you that this is just further confirmation about the state of the mother having so much effect on the baby. I mean, it's obvious, but it's very, very profound. So when she's under stress, it's not just a feeling of stress or anxiety, but there are actual stress chemicals that circulate in her bloodstream and just affect the entire environment for the baby. So, and memory can start in the womb. Short-term memory only lasts 20 to 30 seconds. Short-term memory only lasts 20, 30 seconds, a little joke. The human brain storage capacity is virtually limitless. Now, we talked about caffeine on a couple of calls. Caffeine helps to increase alertness. It doesn't maintain memory performances. Sleep is significant to memory. Sleep helps in the retrieval and the storage of long-term memories. Many people link aging with memory loss. However, memory loss people experience as they age is because they tend to exercise their brains less. So there's so many now apps and you know, games and neuro stimulators, not electronic, but that help to exercise your brain as if it were a muscle. Your memory has the ability to associate a scent with a particular occurrence or event. Now, we've talked about the sense of the sense of smell. And I didn't point it out on that picture, but your olfactory nerve and that sense of smell is the only sensory input that does not go into the thalamus first for processing. It goes directly to your amygdala, to your limbic system. So that's that deep part of the brain, and then to the cortex, but it doesn't pass through the sensory processing center. It goes right into that deep brain. And so smells will trigger memories. And it's amazing how that happens. Researchers are starting to understand that the human minds can reinvent, distort, exaggerate, or create a memory after traumatic experience or event that affected them greatly. A lot of times that's a good thing, right? I had one of my grandmothers, though, she would dream about an event, completely reinvent it, and whatever she dreamed that became her new reality, and which made it our new reality, which was not always a good thing. So, but our minds are amazing and our memories are amazing. Just like any other part of your body, exercise is also important for your brain. The more you try to think about a memory, you can remember it more accurately. In fact, when you think it, it creates a stronger connection between active neurons. Remember the trees on the dendrites on those neurons, getting all this information from so many different locations. Well, the more you think about something, the more dendrites you're triggering and the more processing that will happen in your brain. So your brain is like a computer, right? You have information coming in, inputs, then you have processing that happens, and then you have outputs, hopefully when you need it. Sometimes the outputs don't come out exactly when you want them. So I like this article title. So I wanted to see 9 facts about your memory that you won't believe. Number 1, memory is enhanced by forgetting things first. Now, I have another cartoon where the student raises his hand and says, "Excuse me, professor, could I be excused? My brain is full." And, you know, some people say, well, I need to forget more so I can remember more. But conventional wisdom says if you want to remember something, you should repeat it often and keep it fresh in your memory. This husband and wife research team at UCLA suggests otherwise. According to their research, you need to forget a new piece of information at some level before remembering it in order to make that memory robust over time. The more memory fades before you go looking for it, the more its subsequent retrieval strength improves. So, well, I could think of things that I've forgotten and have had consequences, and I don't forget them anymore. But I just love that memory is enhanced by forgetting things first, because now you're practicing how to retrieve that memory. Memory thrives on storytelling. So important. Why would that be? Well, when we look at that brain, that deep brain, the memory is intricately tied in with the emotions. And when we hear stories, we can get emotional about stories more so than we get about just hearing facts. And I know one of the memory retrieval experts, was it Kevin Trudeau? I think I got his tapes a long time ago, and he talked about how to remember building a memory palace, or if you want to remember directions, like and someone's giving you landmarks for if you need to make a right turn, imagine a big rat is on the roof of the building tearing it down. Or, you know, if you want to make a left turn, I forgot what the L was, so that didn't work. But you know, just making this story involves your emotions and your imagination as well. That enhances your memory. Memory supercharged when new information is visual. So that's why we use our PowerPoints. Yay! It's made robust by a rich environment. When you add sights, sounds, smells, right? All of these things help to improve the memory of that experience. Memory is not all about repetition. Repetition is key, but it's most powerful when it's interleaved with unrelated information to make the brain work harder. So, I don't know if I practice that one that much, but that's interesting that unrelated information can also improve your memory. Memory uses a procrastination as an important tool. Memory relies on your brain to fill in the gaps. Gets broken up in bits and pieces in different parts of your brain. Now, I do know, I have experienced that, and you probably have too. If you start saying something like, you get the keys, you talk about keys, and you might be talking about piano keys, but you reach for your car keys, and then it's like, no, I meant piano keys. Or the pathways get wired between bits and pieces of word associations, and it is like a filing system in your brain. So the more you can understand how your brain has filed the information, you can trace the memory back. Emotion plays so much of a part of a memory. And I think that was the last one. So, amazing things about memory that we're learning. So how can we help to improve our memory? So I got 3 articles for you. One is 25 ways to improve your memory. All 3 are from Healthline, and they're from different times. So this is from 2018. And we've heard a lot of these: learn something new, repeat things, acronyms, abbreviations, mnemonics, grouping and chunking information, the mind palace. So these are great suggestions. There's something I need to work on: avoiding bright screens before bed, because I do use my phone right up to bedtime usually. Although I use the blue light filter, I'm sure I should be a little less, or I should quit the phone a little bit earlier. Some foods to eat, some foods to avoid. And in our call resources, we have the 12 bad foods that everyone should avoid because they cause inflammation in the body, and that's going to affect everything, even your memory. Getting physical, managing stress, socializing. I love number 19, drink water. Your brain is made mostly of water. Water acts as a shock absorber for the brain and spinal cord. It helps our brain cells use nutrients. So just a small amount of dehydration can have disastrous effects. Oh yes. Mild dehydration has been shown to cause brain shrinkage and memory impairment. Aim for at least 8 to 10 glasses per day of Kangen water, and more if you're very active. This statement, some people might say, what? When it says your brain is mostly water, because we talk about our brain being mostly fat. And I have talked about the myelin sheath in particular being very fatty, but in your brain cells are, I believe your brain cells, right, are 60% fat. But you've got cerebral spinal fluid. So you've got these lakes of fluid in your brain as well. So when you talk about the whole brain, it is mostly water, but the brain cells, if you exclude the fluid, then the ratio turns. So statisticians. All right, drink coffee. Caffeine's been shown to enhance memory and reduce risk of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. But there's a sweet spot, as so with many things. With too much caffeine or consuming it later in the day, it can have the opposite effect because it can impair your sleep. Alcohol, we brought out in an earlier call. Some of the latest news is there's no safe amount of alcohol. But definitely don't binge. Meditation, nature, yoga, keeping your weight under control, all are ways to improve your memory. We also have, from 2018, 14 natural ways to improve your memory. Eat less added sugar, because we know sugar causes inflammation. Try a fish oil supplement, because so much of your brain is fatty and we need the omega-3 fatty acids. And some of these, of course, will be duplicates. And then the last article, 11 best foods to boost your brain and memory. Again, fatty fish, coffee, blueberries, right? Anti-inflammatory, antioxidants, phytonutrients, love it. Turmeric, you knew we couldn't get through this talk without some turmeric. Broccoli, pumpkin seeds, dark chocolate, lots of goodness that will help to improve our memory. All righty, so there we go. Some interesting fact, your memory, the anatomy of your memory, some interesting facts about your memory, and things that you can do to improve and nourish your brain, particularly the functioning of memory formation, storage, and retrieving your memories.